post, you are going to get a copy of today's webinar, and then I'll let you know when you can get a copy of today's slides too. But let me, as we're going through here, share with you what you can do if you're tweeting or posting out. If you'll use the hashtag Grow with Google, it will let all your friends and your contacts know that you're leveling up your skills. Most importantly, it lets the Google team know that this matters to you, and it encourages them to create more trainings like this, which I love. Now, do also know you can find me on Instagram. This is my Instagram handle, the second one, or my Twitter handle. Find me there. I'm very active on social. Whatever social works for you, you can pretty much find me, and I look forward to connecting with you. And if you tweet or post using the hashtag Grow with Google, I will repost, retweet you in my stories, wherever that I can promote you, okay? All right, so let's dive on in. And as we're diving in, I've got a couple of questions, okay? So as you're finding your way in the question box, because the question box is exactly where I need you to be able to get a copy of today's slides and a copy of the recording for today, and understand that recording will not show up in your inbox till tomorrow because it takes that long for it to render. But if you will go here to menti.com, so menti.com, and if you use this code, you can participate in this poll that you see happening in front of you. So I'd like to know here who has a Google Business Profile, formerly known as Google My Business. Now, if you've had enough tech for one day and you don't want to go to another site, not to worry. Do not worry at all. Just answer the question in the question box and I'll see it there too, okay? So if you said that's enough, it was just enough for Maria for me to find the question box, I don't want to do any more, no worries. But if you want to participate in this poll, you are welcome to do that. You would just go to menti.com and use the code 8204-3234 to participate in the poll. All right, you're very welcome, Vicki. All right, I've got to know. This gives me a chance to know how slow or how fast I go through some sections here and how deep a dive I take on some other sections. All right, we're seeing a little bit of response here. I see in the question box a lot of people saying no. This is their first time to see this. Some are saying yes. Now, you may know it as Google My Business. That's what it was called before, but it is now called the Google Business Profile, okay? Which really makes more sense. It's a better description of what this truly is. So we have some people here. Okay, some people first time, they've never seen it. A lot of no's happening in the question box. Wow, super busy with no's. All right. Some people aren't sure. Of course, that can happen sometimes. Sometimes you have a Google Business Profile there because people actually will check in or leave a review for you, or maybe it was an employee, or it could have been a disgruntled employee or a family member that put you with a Google Business Profile, or it could be a competitor who is trying to own your online presence and visibility. And it is a part of our first impression. And just like any other first impression, it is lasting. So it's really important for you as a small business to own, verify, and claim your business profile on Google. And we'll talk about that. Oh, wonderful, everybody. I'm glad you played along. Everybody's been saying no pretty much here. All right, let me take this off the screen here so we can go into the rest of what we're covering today. All right, we are going to talk about the Google Business Profile because that's how you can get your local business on Google Search and Maps. I'll also talk to you about how you can create a profile, especially since so many here have not had a profile before. But do not despair, those of you that do have a profile, because I will share with you how to optimize it. For example, for those of you that do have a business profile, let me know how often you post on your Google Business Profile, or if you use the free website through your profile. Just let me know in the question box, okay? Then we'll talk about how to manage your business info. It's really important that you own your business info. You own that first impression. And it looks good across all devices and across Google because Google is the #1 search engine in the world, right? Any guesses on who #2 is? I'd love to know in the question box. And like I end every webinar that I do, I provide free resources. So do know that everything today is 100% free and you have access to it 100% free through your personal Gmail account or personal Google account. You don't even need the paid Workspace account. Now, if you don't have a Gmail account, not to worry, I will show you how you can access all of this by starting a free Google account, and you don't have to worry about having a Gmail account. You can have your own email, so it doesn't matter to do that. It's just a lot of people already have a Gmail account, okay? All right, let's go, go, go. So some people think Bing is #2. I see that here. we post about once a month, and the free website was horrible. It is horrible because it's not meant design-wise. In fact, all I use it for, Joanne, is to make sure that I get another place, another visibility place on search. It's really important that you show up in the #1 page of search results. There's a going joke out there that says, where do you hide a dead body? And it's on the 2nd page of Google, because people don't look past the 1st page. The 1st page gives you 10 organic search results. And if you're not showing up there, let me in fact challenge you, if you don't dominate that, if every result on the 1st page is not about you, then you've got some work to do. And your Google business profile, the free website that shows up that you can say, hey, this is a great product we have about us, and then you can point them to that page, also takes a slot. And maybe it's your Facebook business page, or your Instagram profile, your LinkedIn profile or LinkedIn business page. Maybe it's even something that you've put out on Medium, you know, as far as a blog post or blogger. It all will help you be and resonate as an expert at what you do. If you don't show up in the first 30 searches, so every search page, as I said, gives you 10 organic search results. If you don't show up in the first 30 searches, not even once, people think that you're out of business, and they absolutely do not think you are an expert at what you do. You've got to show up on the first page. Better yet, you need to dominate the first page. I always know when a business is moving towards where they need to be, because every search result on the first page is them. So let's talk about that. We're going to be talking about everything free here. But the first thing we're going to do, I'm going to show you Vince real quick. Now, this is where it gets a little scary, everybody, okay? Because I'm going to go to video. For those of you on a phone, you're going to have to switch audio to the other audio selection. And if you can't hear anything, it's because you have to switch audio. So get ready, the video's coming next, and then I come right back on. But I do want you to meet Vince, because I think he's really relevant to what we're talking about today. So let me bring Vince up real quick. Here we go.
My name is Vince. This is my shop. I opened Village Tailoring Cleaners in 1977. I arrived in New York 4 years earlier from Italy. It was me, my brother, my mom, and my dad. My mother taught me how to sew. When I opened the shop, the first person I hired was my mother. This is Bruno, the store mascot. My little advertisement. As a business owner, you're always thinking, how can you do better? I noticed that customers come in with the clothes in one hand and the phone on the other, always looking up information. So I said to myself, we have to put this store online. Google lets me decide how the shop shows up. I pick photos, I can post special hours, anything. I made this website in 10 minutes using the website builder. And I'm not kidding. Now people walk in and I'm always asking, how did you find us? They used to say, I saw Bruno, so I came in. Now they say, Google. Believe it or not, we're up 30% this year. We're doing enough business, I had to hire more tailors and get some new machines. I've got 3 shops going. And my son Vincent Jr. is running one of them. The village cobbler next door. I'm in an old-fashioned profession. I work with my hands. I hadn't thought much about putting the business online. Now, I couldn't be happier. Village Tailor, 40 years and going strong.
All right, let's see, are we back? Hold on, there we go. All right, if everybody could confirm in the question box that you can hear me again. I'm always worried whenever I have to change audio, but you had a chance to meet Vince just a moment ago. Perfect, all right, Jonathan, thank you, Jessica, Tiffany, June, Veronica, awesome, Sabrina, Latoya, Lisa, thank you very much, everyone. All right. So what is a Google business profile? You heard me talk about that just a moment ago, that it is a place where you can make sure your information is correct across all of Google. And some of you said that Bing was #2 as far as a search engine, but it's actually YouTube that's #2. Google is the #1 search engine in the world, and YouTube is the #2 search engine in the world. Now, most of us know it's an entertainment platform and even a video and networking where people create community and they network, they have lives, but it's also the #2 social network in the world. So it has twofold. It's a search engine and it's a social network. Google's #1, YouTube's #2. Google owns both of them. It's really important for you as a small business to know how to show up in a Google search. You heard me talk about the importance of showing up in the first page of a Google search. It's because if people do not know you exist, they do not know to do business with you. They can't do business with you. So that's why I am such a fan of the free website, even though it's not the prettiest thing in the world. If it gets me placed on the first page of search, and the big thing is it's a Google product filled with Google juice. So what is Google juice? That's search engine optimization. Google is always wanting to be first as far as the search engine used. And in order to stay that way, the information has to be correct there. How do we have correct information? By coming to you, the business owners, and making sure you put in the correct information. When Google can confirm that across all of its products. So I see a lot of business owners who are really thinking aligned with, I'm going to have a Google business profile, get a YouTube channel, I'm going to use Google Sites just to create some landing pages instead of paying for them. They're free. I'm going to have Google Analytics, Google Search Console, and we're going to talk about that more actually in the second webinar, so I'm not going to get ahead of myself. But when you link everything together, it now shows to Google and confirms the information's correct. The algorithm's built to show those results higher because the information is correct. All right, so let's look at a Google business profile. We can talk about here the photos and videos that you'll see. Most of us go on a mobile device first. 74% go to mobile first before anything else. I was working with a website design team earlier today, and I explained to them, if limited resources and time, build for mobile first, desktop second, because this is where people go first. You can have your name, quick links, your location, your hours, and then of course your phone number here. Now, it's important for you to show up, because if you don't show up, or if your site and your information doesn't look right depending on the device, and people are coming in on all sorts of mobile devices, right? We have all different shapes and sizes. We have tablets, we have desktops, laptops. So there's a lot of variety out there, and you need to make sure that whatever your customer or your prospective customer chooses, your information shows up correctly and it shows up well. So being there shows to them that you are an expert at what you do and somebody to consider. So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. Number one, if people do know that you exist, they know your name, they know that you have a product or service that can serve them, how are they searching for you? Think about what it is that they do. Did they pull out a business card? Did they go to the Chamber of Commerce listing? Did they Google you? Did they look at your YouTube channel? Did they find you on TikTok and look at your links or your links.com link there to find you? How do they find you? Okay, a lot of people are saying Google. Wonderful. Yes, so somebody here is saying that they have a WordPress site and it's just hidden. Exactly. And the next webinar that I do, I will tell you about how you can unhide that WordPress, but we're not going to talk about that today because we're focused, or this webinar, that'll be later today. So not this webinar, okay? Right, somebody said social links. Actually, yes, Facebook. Sometimes that's what people are doing. They are going to all different places, right? There is hundreds upon hundreds of social networks out there. So think about what they're doing when they know your name, they know that you have a product or service that can serve them. But question two is, if they don't know your name, but they know there's a product or service that can serve them, how are they finding you? Are they going out onto their Facebook feed and saying, hey, I need a pediatric dentist? Or they're saying, hey, Google, hey, Alexa, what do you do with crooked teeth? Okay, what do you do when your child, your 13-year-old has crooked teeth? What are they doing? It's important for us as pros in our business, professionals in our business, to be experts on our customers, to really understand that, and not to do it for them, but to find out how they're doing it. Not to tell them, but to know what it is that they need and what their decision journey looks like. And the third question is, if they don't know your name, but they know that there's a if they don't know your name and they don't know that there is a product or service that can serve them, how are they searching for you? It's important for you to know that. And if you don't have customers yet, talk to people who would be your best customer, or who are doing business with somebody that you consider a competitor, or you've been watching so you can find out exactly what it is that they do. You need to be an expert at that. Exactly. Know what their keywords are. Do you know? Don't put words in their mouth. Nobody wants to have words put in their mouth. But you could definitely find out by talking to your best customers, or also if you don't have business yet or you don't have a list of best customers, go to people who could be potential customers to you, those who are with your competitors right now. So again, remember what I said about it needs to look great across all devices, and people will react differently when they find you on maps, like you saw me just show a moment ago. There's more likelihood they're going to go to your location than anything else. Don't worry for those of you that are home-based, just stop the worrying right now, because you can use the Google Business Profile even if you're home-based and you don't want people showing up at your front door, and I'll show you how to do that too, okay? So let's now talk about how we get started with your Google Business Profile. If you see your profile online and it says that you own this business and you can claim it now, I want you to start that process. When you get a copy of today's slides, I want you to use these slides like a checklist, like an outline. And if you'll follow along, you will be doing it beautifully and you will get your business verified and you'll be ready to manage it, okay? So the next thing is how to actually create that profile. As you're creating the profile, you're going to go here to this URL, google.com/business. Now, when you go here, if you have a Gmail account and you're already logged into your account, it will recognize you, it will recognize your credentials, and it will already go to the next page. But if not, you may need to sign in. So you can sign in here. You'll see the animation showing you how you can sign in either with your Gmail account, or if you remember me telling you, you do not need a Gmail account. You can get a free Google account. So if you'll go here and you'll actually go to this URL, you can sign up for a free Google account. You will use your current email address to be able to identify that account. You'll create a password, and just like any other password protected site online, you'll use the two of those to log in. So it does not change your email to Gmail. But if you've got a Gmail account, you're golden already. You have a Google account, okay? Will all these functions also work for a manager of the account? Yes, they absolutely will. And I'm actually going to talk about those roles, Stephanie, in just a little bit, okay? So good question. Now, you're going to find or add your business. So if you don't already have it on there, now you need to look for it. So when you go to google.com/business, this is the next page it takes you after you're logged into your Google account, or if you're already in Gmail, just refresh the page. You'll come here and it'll give you the opportunity to type it in. The name of your business will start showing up, and a drop-down menu of all businesses in the United States will be showing up there. You will choose the one that is in your location, okay? Because it'll be every business in the United States that's already online. If you're not online, then nothing's going to show up, and you're going to have a chance to enter all that in. Once you start doing that, you'll click next, and you'll actually put this information in. I'm sorry, first you'll put that information in, then you'll click next. Double check your spelling. The biggest problems people run into in getting their Google Business Profile verified is they don't double check their work, and after they submit to Google to be verified, they realize there's a typo, they're missing a number, something's wrong, and they go to change it, but they've not yet verified that they're owner of the business or claimed it, and now you're in this horrible verification loop, and you just get to be stuck there until something happens, like starting all over again. So I just wanted to let you know that. Don't get stuck in the verification loop. Get everything done right the first time. Triple check your work before you submit it, okay? Now, will it not show up in the list? It could show up in the list if you're already online, Stephanie, but if it can't find your business yet and you're a new business, or it's not finding any digital presence of you, then you are going to have a chance to enter all this in. So it's not going to be automatic. Now, here's the key step, step 4, for all of you that are home-based businesses, or you have offices where you just don't want people to show up, or maybe you have a workspace like a warehouse or a shop and you go to customers. You don't want them coming to you. What you need to do here is select that if you want people to visit your location, you're going to choose yes. But if not, you're home-based, by appointment only, or you're in a location where it's just kind of like your garage, where your workspace, maybe you weld things together, but it's not for the public to come see, then you're going to click no. What happens then is you show up for that area, that you do business in that area and you provide that service or product in the area, but your actual address doesn't show up. So you don't have to worry about somebody. Let's say you're a skincare consultant and you sell makeup and you're the local rep and you want to show that you're the local rep for the area. You can do that and be home-based and not worry that at 4 o'clock in the morning, somebody's going to knock on your door wanting foundation or shadow or something because they are out. You can know that they will know that you serve the area and you're around there, so they have a local rep, but they have to contact you through whatever contact information you put here in your business profile. Make sense? All right. I just want to make sure and take a good test here, or actually pulse of how you're doing. So is there something that you've gotten of value already from just our time here together, our short time together? All right. So if you said yes, or even if you said no, so this slide is a little bit misleading, you still are going to have to put an address in. I just want to let you know that. If you said no, your address is not going to show on Google Search and Maps. If you said yes, your address will show. So whatever you chose in that moment before here is what's going to dictate that. But you do have to put your address, because the only way Google can verify that you're the business owner is by sending you a postcard. That, by the way, looks nothing like a postcard. It looks like a W-2 with perforations on the end. And when you get it, it's going to have a 5 or 6 digit verification code in there, and you need that. So it has to have an address to send it to, and that's where you're going to put here. Now, do know that P.O. boxes do not work. Mailing centers do, hint, they do. But also, physical locations where you don't get mail don't work either. So you actually have to have a place where you receive mail. I was working with an executive director of a community theater, and it's a community theater. So of course, there's a theater where people audition, where they watch plays, but their mailing address wasn't there at the theater. They had a P.O. box. What he did is, when he submitted and was able to claim his Google business profile for the theater, is he put his home address. He said no, that he did not want anyone coming to his location. He submitted that, he got the verification postcard, put the number in, verified that, and then put the actual physical location on Google Maps. He could do that because he'd already verified he's the owner, okay? So that's really important for you to do, to follow those steps, because again, P.O. boxes don't work. But let's say that you're a real estate agent and your broker has claimed the location already. So every time you try to say that address, it's not showing you. Understand that you can say you're at suite 100. Maybe the broker's at suite 200, you're at suite 100, or the broker's suite A and you're suite B, or the broker has that address and maybe you're realtor 1, you're suite A, realtor 2, suite B. The same thing with doctors and dentists. Anybody who's working at a clinic where the administration may have ownership of the location and claimed it already on maps, you can still show yourself there, especially realtors or real estate agents, because they may change to a different broker. And you want people and your reviews to follow you. All right. Okay, so if you're leaving work, not to worry. The fact that you have commented in the question box means you're going to get a copy of today's slides, and you will get a copy of the recording. So if you haven't already commented, make sure you do, because you will get a copy of today's slides and then also a copy of the recording. Remember, it'll be tomorrow though, because it takes that long for the system to render the copy of the recording of this, okay? And then you can slow down and pause me or repeat wherever you need to as you're putting this together, and use the slides as your outline. You're very welcome, Cindy. So you can add a service area. If now the next step after you put your address, remember, if you said no, it's not going to show you on Google Search and Maps. It's not going to show your location on Google Maps, I should say. If you said yes, it's going to show your location, but you can also pick a service location, because maybe, like me, I'm in West Texas, I'm in Midland, Texas. Odessa is just 16 miles away, so I want to show that I service 16 miles. If I have a business in Odessa, because Midland and Odessa do a lot of business together, I'm going to do that. Maybe I go as far as Lubbock, which is about 100 miles out up north, or 110 miles to the southeast is San Angelo. So maybe I'm going to include San Angelo, or maybe Monahans, or maybe I'm, La Mesa on the way to Lubbock, or maybe all the way out to Abilene. Wherever I'm at, I can include those service areas. But here's the thing. Keep it within, try to keep within about 100 miles or less. In fact, I tell people, remember, the strength of the Google business profile is for local businesses. That's the superpower of this free tool. If you start saying, well, I can do business nationwide in New York, in California, in Illinois, I can go even to Canada, now you've diluted the efforts of the business, because you service all these areas. use another tool for that. And I can talk to you about more tools in the next webinar. But for this tool, it's very local focused. It's about your local business, local marketing, and local search engine optimization. Keep it local by trying to stay within 100 miles. In fact, the best practices that I work with the businesses that I actually help with their business profile is I try to keep them within 30 miles because I want them to show up that much and dominate that organic Google search first page, okay? All right, so you can choose service areas here. You can do that by county, by zip code. And now you can add your additional information, like if you have a website or anything, and if you have your phone number. Remember what I said, even though you might use the free website available here, I still think you need your own website. That's going to be your brand and your visible presence. You're just going to use the free website here to point to it so you can get a little bit more visibility and more real estate, visual real estate, by getting another spot in those first 10 organic searches, okay? Now you're going to choose your verification method, except you only have one choice most of the time. It's the postcard. So once you choose that, remember, double check everything. You don't want to be in that verification loop. Once you've done that, now the postcard's on its way, and they're traveling pretty fast. I used to tell people it could take anywhere from 10 business days, but I did this for a couple of businesses last week, and I mean, it was like on Monday, and by Friday they already had gotten their verification card. The big thing to remember is it looks like a junk mail piece, direct mail piece, so don't throw it away because you'll have to start all over again. Now, you're going to add your services. While you're waiting for you to get your verification code to come in, there are a few things you can do. It's limited because you haven't proven you're the owner, but you can go in there and put your services in, or you could put your products in, depending on what you said your industry is. Now, when you choose your industry, your category, know there are only 3,000 you can choose from. Google's always adding to that, so I check back quite often. But do know that you have one category and then you have 9 subcategories after that. So just like Vince, while he was a shoe repair shop, he could also say he was a dry cleaner, but then he had shoe repair. So he could say his main category is that he's a dry cleaner, but then one of his 9 subcategories could be shoe repair, leather repair, alterations, tailoring. He could add that in to really customize and show how unique his business is and what he has uniquely to offer to the area. Now you can put your business hours in. This is really important. And remember the special holidays too, because there is nothing that makes people more mad than going out, seeing that you're open on Google. You know, you're looking on your phone, you're searching maps, they say they're open, and you show up and they're closed. And understand, they are not mad at Google. They're mad at you. And that first impression is lasting. So get this right by making sure you're staying up to date with the information and providing good information to people who want to be your customer. Make it easy for them to buy from you, to find you, to do business with you. You can also accept messages. This is so people can now text you using your Google business profile. They don't know your mobile number. You'll see theirs, but they won't know yours, so they can't text you offline or at another time. They won't know your number, but it gives them an opportunity to be able to message back and forth quickly. Real estate agents know whoever answers the phone first is the one who owns the business. In this day, it's about whoever texts back first, because people text a whole lot quickly and they expect quick responses. 6 hours is way too long with text, so do not turn this on if you cannot respond in 6 hours or less. Less is better. But if you can, turn this on and then share the ability to access the profile, and I'll show you that in a moment, with other people. So even if you're today in the webinar and somebody has a burning question, they can still reach somebody to respond to them. Remember about being the first to respond, right? Okay, let me see. Oh, perfect. Yes, you will get a copy of today's presentation, and there is another one later. So you do need to be logged in for the one later if you want a copy of that one, okay? So you're going to write a business description now. Here's where those keywords come in. If you're not familiar with the term keywords, those are words that people use to search for your product, service, or solution. You need to know what words they're using. That's why I'm telling you it's good to have a conversation with your current best customers or prospective customers who maybe are doing business with your competitor. Understand who they are and how they search and what words they use, because now you can put this here. When they're entering that information, or when they're saying, hey Google, hey Alexa, I need to find this, now they can find you because you're relevant. So number one in Google search algorithm is relevancy. How well are you matching what the user or the person who's searching needs. You can match here in the keywords in your description, all right? So you want it to be readable, legible by somebody because it's a person. The user or the person experience is most important, that it doesn't just look like gibberish or a bunch of keywords stuffed in there. It has to make sense, but you do want to use keywords in your description to make sure that your prospective customer can find you. Now you'll add some photos. This is also important too. A little SEO, search engine optimization tip, is to make sure you label your photos using keywords or the name of your business. Don't just use image 035, okay? Name those, upload those. Remember, visual is really important. People see things first. Picture is worth 1,000 words. Videos are great, and you can use videos in Google Business Profiles also. About 30 seconds of video, and what's nice is whatever fits into an Instagram video fits perfectly here. And now you can also connect Google Ads if you want. Remember what I said about when Google can verify through other Google tools that you are who you are and the information is correct. Now you show up higher in an organic search, and you've got to show up in that first page. And at the very least, even with your minimum efforts, you need to show up in the first 30 searches, the first 3 pages. People will not look past that at all. All right, now once you get that verification coming in, it's pending, you're waiting for that information. You could do all the things that I just showed you. You can make those changes until your verification comes in. It doesn't show to the public yet until you're verified. So it's really important that you enter this code and you don't miss out on that postcard or that piece of paper. All right? Any questions before we go to the next spot? I do want to ask you, has anything surprised you so far? Anything maybe that you've even added to your to-do list now that you know this is something you need to get done because you know people are searching online first? I would love to hear in the question box. All right, let me know there, but also let me know if you have any questions. Awesome, Veronica. I'm so glad it's helpful. Now let's talk about how you can manage your profile and you can optimize it, because of course we want visibility and we want this information to be visible across all of Google, right? All right, perfect. I'm so glad it's helpful, Lisa, Sylvia, perfect. Thank you for the feedback. I'd love to know what you feel like you're going to put on your to-do list after we get done today, okay? Let me know. Learn what keywords, absolutely. Should the name on Google reflect my business card? It can if that's the name of your business, okay? Some real estate agents, that's what they do because their name comes with them everywhere. So it's smart, excuse me, it's smart to do that, okay? Oh, great. I'm so glad it's helpful. So let's talk now about how we can optimize this. You actually, once you have a verified Google business profile, you can just go into search results when you're logged into your Google account or Gmail. You can make the changes and manage your info right there in Google search. You can do it on a phone or desktop, laptop, tablet. You have the opportunity to edit that business info. Let's say you talk to your customers a little bit more and you find some other words that they use. Now you can edit your business info. Or maybe you have something coming up. You know, maybe you're going to be closed for President's Day, or maybe there's a snow day coming up and you want to update your hours. Maybe you want to add products. You saw me show you how to add services, excuse me, to add your services, but you can also add products. You can do both. And I like to do both because the more visibility, the better. And then you can add photos. Remember, photos get a lot of good visibility as long as you name them right. So you do need to use what's known as alt text, alternate text, and that's just the naming of your photo. So you can look at your business name now. You might have put your professional actual business name, like your business LLC, and that's not what everybody knows you at. They know that you're Vince's tailor, or you're the village tailor. So you might want to change that now. Remember, after you're verified, do not try to do this before you verified. You can choose that primary category. You'll have 9 other categories that you can choose to help really show what makes you unique. And now you can look and review that description if you need to change it or update it. You can enter up to 3 phone numbers here for, excuse me, for your business. And you can also include a link to your website. So you have the ability to customize all this, and you really are in charge of your information on Google. You can now edit the profile. So I had a question before the webinar started about What if you put your address in and the map is showing it in the wrong location? Well, if you've already verified your business profile, this is the quickest and easiest way to do this. You can go into the actual edit profile location and you can move that pin. You can drop, click, and drag it there. Now, do know it doesn't change immediately. Google sends a satellite over. It takes about 30 to 60 days for that satellite to pass over to confirm that location and information that you shared here on Maps. And that's when it will change. Now, if it's cloudy, it's not a good day here in West Texas, it gets windy, so that's our cloud, the dust that's going from one side to the other of town. And if that's happening, it might have to take a second pass before that can happen. But do know the satellite goes over that. And then also, if you don't serve your customer at that location, you can leave it blank and say that you serve, Midland, Texas. I'm in Midland, Texas, where I could put 79707. I could put the zip code, or the county happens to be Midland County. You can also change your hours if you've got special hours like senior hours or curbside delivery, or maybe you have a Moonlight Madness sale. You could put that here too. And you can go in here and edit the profile even more. Let's say you've got outdoor dining, maybe you're pet friendly, maybe you've got happy hour or drive-through. You can make some of those changes to let people know exactly what you have available. Let me see. You've added to your to-do list. Awesome, awesome, Amber. I'm so glad to hear that. Oh, I love this. All right, I want it to be, it's important that it's helpful to you, because, and the best way it can be helpful to you is by you applying it. There's a myth out there that knowledge is power, and it is not. Applied knowledge is power. I know a lot of people were super knowledgeable, but they couldn't apply any of this for anything. And my friend Jo, she says it best when she says, knowledge is knowing that the tomato is a fruit. Applied knowledge is not putting it in the fruit salad. So I love that you guys are letting me know exactly what you're going to apply. Y'all are awesome. So now you can edit your profile and actually add products, add photos there too. This is really key, especially if you want to show up in Google Images, Google Search. Photos show up there too, and also Google Lens. If you've not used that, that's another great tool to show up. You also can edit your services too. So maybe you have products and services, or you're just service-based, so you want to make sure you have all of your services listed, and you could put prices or your price range there. That'll help you show up a little bit more too. As you're putting a description and prices, it actually gives you a little bit more visual real estate when people are looking for you on Google. And you can of course drop and drag photos here. It makes it nice and easy. But of course you want photos that truly do visually depict your brand, because this is your brand reputation, this is your online presence. So consider your logo, consider the resolution. What's it a photo of? Now, do know that your customers, once you have a profile that's live and active to the public, they can add photos themselves, and sometimes it's not a photo that you want. I was working with a resort once, and people were taking pictures of their little stubby toes and their knobby knees, and that was showing up for this beautiful resort. And they were upset because that's not the photo impression they wanted for people when they found it, but yet they knew the importance of people actually posting their own photos, and they were popular because people were sharing them around. So it was getting them the business. It just wasn't visually appealing. And I explained to them the best way that you can control that, because you do want your customers to upload photos, because their third-party recommendation, them sharing you into the circle of friends they have, and you borrowing from the trust and relationship that they have with that circle, is much stronger than you could ever do. But the way you can kind of control what's showing up top is to make sure that you put more photos in. The more photos that you put in, the more then that Google has to choose from, and it's not just choosing a few select popular ones. Okay? All right. Oh, perfect. I'm glad you are, Latoya. That's so good. That's so good. I'm glad to hear it. Now, how you can promote your business is you can look at the performance. Maybe you'll find out, that you thought your business was 16 miles to the west, but it's actually 20 miles to the east. And that'll help you know, oh, you know what, they're dealing with maybe rainy weather, or maybe they're dealing with a different school board selection. Whatever matters to your customer, if you can meet them where they're at, you'll show up on the radar about things that they already have on their mind. And that's important, because it is good to fish where the fish are. It really takes a tremendous amount of time, energy, and money to try to convince people to go somewhere else, to look over here to find my business, when they're all spending time over here. But if you can show up here, and I'll talk to you more about that in the next webinar, then you can pull them away, and you can find out where they're at by looking at your performance. In fact, there is a saying out there that all of us as small business owners need to carry as our mantra, and that is, if you are not measuring, you're not marketing. 1 minute or $1 spent that's not getting you closer to your goal or lifting your bottom line is $1 or 1 minute spent too much. Okay. You can also advertise, put photos here. You can look at your reviews. You can do updates and offers. So let's go into how we can optimize this. Let me see. If my business isn't registered with the state yet, it can't be posted. Oh yeah, you can post it. You're just going to say when your actual opening date is, Jamie. So you can select the opening date of your business. And what's really nice with Google Business Profile is that 90 days before your business actually opens. So you're going to have to kind of give a ballpark of that. You may not know because we can't always all calculate when the state's going to have the papers to us or the confirmation. But if you could give a ballpark, then what happens 90 days before your business opens up is Google will start showing that, hey, this is coming to our area, which gets you some good visibility. And it's kind of that little announcement ahead of time to let people know that your business is coming. Okay. All right. So you can now track that performance, measure that marketing, see what's working, do more of what actually works and gets customers to come in or to actually buy from you, share from you, or whatever you want to do. Now you hear me say buy. Understand the Google Business Profile also works for nonprofits. When I say buy, that's my just generic term for them to do whatever you deem as successful for your business and your website. For a nonprofit, it could be they donate, or it could be they share their list of friends on who would be good to volunteer or friend raise with. It could be they download a PDF, or they leave their contact information, they watch a video. So that could be considered that buy action or conversion action. Now, also what you can do once you've claimed and verified your business profile is you can do updates. Your updates need to happen often, okay? Just so you know, once a month is not going to cut it. Google's not going to see that. Updates stay live and published on Google Search and Maps for 5 days, which means at minimum you need to post every 5 days. What do you post? Whatever you're already posting on social. Repurpose your content. There's no reason to recreate the wheel. Repurpose it here. Just know that not everybody's on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, or Twitter, but 99% of the world looks to Google first when they search. So make sure you're getting some eyeballs from Google search by posting it here. Offers are visible until the offer actually happens. So if you have a, let's say, special offer, a free gift, percentage off, and that is going to expire on at the end of March, then that's going to show up till March 31st. After that time, it will no longer be visible on Google Search and Maps. Or if you have an event, like let's say today, the Community Action Agency were to put this webinar on their Google Business Profile, then it would show till the actual day of the webinar. So it would show that long and be visible on Google Search and Maps. So updates are 5 days, offers till the offer ends, events till the event actually happens. So it's really easy to remember that. And this is what it looks like. So your update could be, I want to show you behind the scenes of what's coming in, or I'm learning this really cool way to make this croissant, or you should see Jamie here. Jamie is our new person, or Jamie has been with us 20 years and we want to celebrate Jamie's success here, just meeting and greeting everybody in the community. Or maybe it's, hey, we'd love for you to see what we're thinking about. We're thinking of putting a table over here, and you're getting that nice buy-in and engagement from people who absolutely are interested in what you provide. Of course, whatever you're posting on search, on social, you can add this here too. And of course, the offer and event we covered. Or is that the same as Google? So what if my business is not, I didn't say recommendations for the best site to have a personalized website. There are lots of places. June, I'm a huge fan of, there's Squarespace, there's Wix, depending if you need an e-commerce. I'm a big fan of Shopify and BigCommerce, but I love WordPress. That's a great tool as well. I love Blogger, depending on what you want to do. I love all the free Google sites. It's a great way to get started. And once you have some cash flow, now you can start using other tools, paid tools. But I always like cash. I know cash flow is king with small businesses, and I always look for that first before I start going to paid things. But that's just me. So there's lots of resources out there. Get with the Google partner who invited you, because I'm sure they're very familiar with all those resources. Now, when you interact with your customers, you're going to have a chance to manage those messages I showed you that would come in like a text message, but they don't show your mobile number. And then also you can read and respond to reviews. Now, this is very important. Know that 97% of small businesses, any business actually, 97% Do not say thank you for a good review. If you want to inexpensively put yourself head and shoulders above your competitors, say thank you for a good review. You're then now to 3%, only 3% of businesses that actually do that. Now, you're going to get some negative reviews if you've been in business any amount of time. You're going to get trolls, people who've just got way too much time on their hands, and just ignore the trolls. Do become familiar with Google's terms and conditions. There's 10 of them where you can flag a review if it's something, let's say it's an employee who left you a negative review or a disgruntled employee, that would be in violation of terms and condition number 10, which is there can be no conflict of interest. No current employee or past employee can leave you a review, so you can flag that. Understand it takes time. Removing a review from Google is very much a timely prospect, and it just takes time as they review it because Google is still 100% remote now, just so you know. Now, also, if you do get a negative review, this is how you can handle it, okay? Because you are going to get one, and that is let people know, you know what, that's not the experience that we want for you. I'd like to learn more without jeopardizing your privacy. Would you please contact me here? And you could put a phone number, an email address, your messenger link, your WhatsApp link, whatever is the best way, or your contact form link, whatever is the best way for them to contact you. 3 things happen when you do that. Number 1, they realize it's human to human. And a lot of times people stop being so angry and really ugly in their speech when they realize they're not talking to a bot. It's an actual human. Number 2, it takes the fight offline. We are all way too busy business people to win any online fight whatsoever. Take it offline, because the more you interact with that negative review, the higher it's going to show up in Google search, because Google algorithm is reading that as, oh, that's a popular comment or a popular review. You want to take that off. It also shows to all of us lurking who might just stumble across your business that you listen. And most businesses don't listen. Imagine you were at a networking event and somebody came up and said, I love your product and service. It was amazing. I know I had to go across town to get it, but you're my favorite. And you talk to that person, they just didn't respond. They didn't say thank you. They didn't say anything. Most businesses don't respond to the reviews. So now you can stand out by responding. And also, number 3, you might find out something that you didn't know about your business. Sometimes, excuse me, a bad review is just a complaint or a request in another format. So I had this happen in Midland. Somebody has a taco business or a taco restaurant. And what happened is that somebody didn't like the taco plate. They posted it. They said it was soggy. So it was a negative review. The owner reached out and said, that's not the experience that we want for you. I want to learn more without jeopardizing your privacy. Would you contact me here? And the owner happened to leave their cell phone number there. That person reached out, they talked, they found out what was happening, they made some changes to the taco plate, they brought them in, and then he gave them 10 free coupons. Didn't you know he was out there saying, I helped create the taco plate, me. He turned an enemy to an advocate because he listened. So it's important for you as a business because you might hear some things that you are not aware of, and you are helping them with their privacy, because I have worked with credit unions and with banks where people in their reviews have actually left their account number and their password and their routing number. It's kind of crazy, right? So now you can see customer messages. This is what it looks like when you're online with the app. If you want to share this with everybody who is in your business, share it with 2 other people, 3 other people, so they can respond right away. And now you can see that in the dashboard, you can start adding different things like attributes. Maybe you're veteran-owned, women-led, Black-owned business. Maybe you want to add lots of different multiple locations. Again, you might want to add these attributes too, because some people may be looking just to work with veterans. And you can also, like Stephanie was asking, manage user access. So you can add users. Here's something I do want to leave you with before we leave this presentation, because we're at the last 2 minutes, and that is never, ever, ever give your Google, your Gmail password away, because you give away the keys to the kingdom, and they can shut you down and shut you out, and you do not want that. So if you've done that after this webinar, immediately go change your password, go in there and select users. You can select somebody to be either the primary owner, that's you. Primary owner can shut everybody down and shut everybody out, which means all those great reviews that you could lose if somebody else does that. Owner means they can do everything that you can do except shut you down or shut you out. A lot of people like to give this to agencies, but if the agency has started your account and They did not give you primary owner access. Ask them for it right now because that's yours. You own it. A manager can do almost everything except they can't add other people. So sometimes some people, excuse me, want to give this access. Sorry, it's windy here and I've got a lot of West Texas dust, but you might want to make a manager so they can do everything but add anybody to your site, to the back end of your site. You may not want to do that. So your next steps are these things to do, right? Go to google.com/business, start your claim or complete your business profile. So you're going to claim it, you're going to verify it, and then you can make some updates and you can start doing this. So let me know in the question box as we finish up, what's one thing that you're going to do to make our time together something that you invested in instead of spent? What's one thing that you're adding your to-do list? And as you're doing that, I'm going to look to the question box. I'm not going to go full over resources right now because we are at time and we've got another webinar coming up, and the resources slide is pretty much the same. So I'll go over that in the next webinar. Those are all the free resources. But if you get a copy of today's slides, you'll get a listing of all those free resources too and the links to get there, okay? All right, some people say they have to create a profile. Anybody else? Comments or feedback? While you're doing that and we're finishing up, I do want to give a shout out to our Google partners who invited you here today, and that is to the Community Action Agency of Oklahoma City and the Sul Ross Rio Grande College SBDC, Small Business Development Center. So a lot of people are saying they are creating a profile. Awesome. Oh, thank you, Sylvia, so much for the feedback. I'm so glad it was helpful to you. All right. Remember, if you have any questions, reach out to the Google partner who helped you. You're going to get my email when you get a copy of today's slides and the video tomorrow. It'll happen tomorrow. But do know that I'm usually in webinars and in training or working with people directly, and so I'm terrible about responding to emails. Sometimes it takes me a couple of days, but your Google partner who invited you, man, they're so vested in your success. They want you to succeed. They want to help you. All right, reply to comments, creating a profile. Awesome. For your upcoming business, perfect. Starting fresh, perfect. Now you have no bad habits, right? You got this all down, so no mistakes that you have to go in and hurriedly change, right? Perfect. Oh, everybody, perfect. All right. Now, as I shared earlier, I'm going to turn the recording off.